Today we are going to be talking to one of the most stoked guys in the industry. I'm so excited to have him on WorkForAvocados. Please give a warm round of applause to Chris Coté. He's going to be joining us for an interview today, but before we go and get to that, if you guys can do me a huge favor and go ahead and press that like and subscribe button. It's the easiest way to help support this channel. It doesn't cost you anything, and hit that bell icon to get notified every time new Stoke drops.
What's up?
What's up, man? I appreciate you being patient with me while I figure this out.
All good.
How's it going?
I'm doing well. Just got back from the beach.
Any waves out there today?
Nope.
It seems like Florida right now, too.
Yeah, no waves today, but it's sunny, it's warm.
What more can you
ask for?
Day. Well, awesome, man. My channel's all about surfing, skating, and being stoked on the small stuff. For everyone watching, we have the famous Chris Coté, WSL commentator, former Trans World Surf editor. He's in Cut You Up, and now also the Monday Mass podcast host.
That's right.
How long have you been doing that for now?
I would say about maybe almost 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. We're probably close to 160 episodes or something like that.
That's a solid run.
Yeah, I kind of had set it up to where when you put the word Monday in the title, you kind of are now forcing yourself to do it every single Monday, and that was by design. And we've gotten pretty close. We've taken a couple, a week or two here off there, but we've gotten pretty close to doing the weekly podcast, which was the challenge that we set out for ourselves, and it feels good to hit your challenges every once in a while.
Definitely. Have you been able to focus more time with that lately, with everything that's going on, or?
We're working on some kind of additional video stuff that we want to do with the podcast. So we've been kind of tinkering on that for a while. So that's been a fun kind of new challenge to go for. But, I think for the most part, my the jobs, obviously the live events and all of that, all of those kind of weeks or weekends that I would fill my time with have now all just transferred over to talking into my phone or into my computer on Zoom calls and all that stuff. So I think the same. I've been dedicating probably the same amount of time to the podcast, with a little extra on making improvements to it. And hopefully mid-August there will be some kind of fun news and developments on that front for sure.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with that. You're able to talk about things that you love, but what's the work process like, more or less, for you with the podcast?
Yeah, it's stuff that I would be geeking out on anyway, for sure. Skating, surfing, snowboarding, mostly in the winter, but throughout the summer, there's always a little bit of snow news that comes through. So a lot of it is just kind of things that I'm interested in. I will start, all week long, I kind of just have a file dump that I just put headlines or little stories or links into. And then on Sunday night, I start really kind of compiling it, tightening it up a little bit. And then Monday morning from about 7 to 11, kind of set the whole script up. And it's all just bullet points. It's news items. And Todd Richards, my co-host, and I will just kind of take the ball and run with it in terms of the the bullet points that we're going to be talking about. Some of them will have a little bit of explanation to them, but kind of work on it throughout the week, and then I really power into it Monday mornings, and we usually record around noon. Then I do the back end, the editing and posting and all that, which can take an hour or two. So it's a pretty full. Like, Mondays are pretty much reserved for the Monday Mass podcast. And then a few meetings will slide in there in between. So it's short bursts of work, and some episodes just totally do themselves. Others are a little bit more of a struggle, as you probably know. But yeah, it's funny because it started off as just a way to keep the tools sharp, between events. And because I love all this stuff anyway, I would be talking about it all anyway. So it was kind of that area to just get it out there. And I have, a lot of history, of course, with all these things. So, it keeps me engaged. It keeps me relevant, and it kind of forces me to really be on the pulse of what's happening today in surf, skate, snow, and with the questions that people send in, kind of getting that engagement there. I sound like a marketing speak guy right now, but
No, but I totally understand where you're coming from. It must be kind of stressful to be constantly up to date on things like that, though, especially with things like contests and whatnot.
yeah, totally. I think it's everybody's what everybody's struggling with a little bit right now is, you know, with no sports in general, no sporting events to talk about, you know, in surfing. Yeah, of course, there's a million other things we could be talking about besides the championship tour, the QS, or whatever. But that is such a big part of what we all talk about on a daily basis. You know, what happened in what event. It's not even a thing about scores or who won. It's really kind of, you know, what we took from the event, what we were excited about. Did you see John John's air? Did you see Gabriel's interference? All that stuff that, you know, is just it's a really kind of a key part of conversation with a lot of friends out in the water, in the parking lots. So it's been interesting to kind of see the whole surf media landscape pivot to what we've all seen now is a lot of really cool, you know, content that people have created. And I kind of cringe every time I use that word content, but all the videos and stuff that people are creating new out of, you know, necessity to just keep themselves in the public eye. And also, you know, looking back, I think with the WSL releasing old events and showing them in their entirety and doing highlight shows, you know, all surfers, skaters, watching old videos again over and over. So it's been a pretty cool kind of reset. And I think it's really enlightened a lot of people about the history, the recent history in surfing and skating for sure. Just because, you know, there's not a lot of new stuff to watch. So you go back and you watch old surf videos, old contests, and you kind of get that similar feeling. There's definitely nostalgia, I think, involved with a lot of viewing right now. But at the same time, I know everybody's excited and I know everybody's ready to see something, anything in a jersey right now. I'm one of those people. I want to see pro surfing again ASAP.
It's such a mess right now. Do you think we're going to see a distinct shift between athletes in different countries who are able to practice with different quarantine regulations? Like I think in South Africa, you were able to go out only if you were like a pro surfer.
Something like that. I think once the events fire back up, I don't think anyone will have an advantage in terms of practice or, you know, time in the water. Just because I know that obviously surfers are very creative and resilient bunch. If you can't surf in front of your house, you'll be able to find somewhere to surf, and especially if you're pro. You know, we kind of saw the whole championship tour scatter around the globe. San Clemente, Tahiti, Brazil. So I think a lot of people kind of just went to their comfort zones or their safe places. But as far as I've seen, everybody's still surfing their asses off, and you know, the video clips and stuff that we're seeing it's kind of just proof that everyone's ready to go and everyone's just getting better. You know, we're not going to see a lack of effort, or we're not going to see, you know, surfers that are rusty out in the water. We're going to see people fired up and ready to go.
Who knows? Could be the best year that we've seen so far. What have you been doing to stay stoked lately?
Well, we had an amazing run of waves here. And so that was all through like 4th of July week and all that. It was just one of those weeks that you know, your arms are tired, you got rash on your stomach, and you feel surfed out. But then you go back and you check the waves every morning and it's still pumping, and you just go, okay, well, I know it's going to be flat like it is now. It definitely looks very, you know, Daytona Beach-esque in front of the house right now. It's dead flat. But the flip side of that, which is, to answer your question about staying stoked, is both of my kids have started to really get into surfing. And so for them, flat days are the best because they can get out in the water, they can make it to the outside and feel like they're really kind of, you know, they're really doing it. When it's pumping, they surf, but they're riding white water on the inside. And when it's flat, it's really cool to watch because they feel very confident and they paddle around. It's just that gets me way more stoked than even trying to surf, you know, flat waves. So I just sit on the beach and watch them, and that gets me hyped.
I bet. That must be an awesome experience to be able to share that experience with your kids.
For sure. And I have one regular footer and one goofy footer. So picking, I guess, once they get to the age of being able to surf go on surf trips and stuff, picking the spots. And we got 2-to-1 goofy footers, so I think we're gonna be going to lefts.
They're gonna have to learn backside.
Yeah, my girlfriend's a regular footer now though too, so I think we do have 2 and 2. So we'll see. We're gonna have to go to a peak.
What's the next surf trip you're thinking?
I was just talking about this to some friends. I see people going to, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Central America, Costa Rica, Mexico, and I want to get in on it for sure. For me, my next surf trip, I've always wanted to go to Peru. I don't know why, I just left, sandbar lefts. But realistically, I would say my next full surf trip will probably be Waco, Texas. Yeah, the BSR Surf Resort. I would like to go to, anywhere. Costa Rica, Tijuana, Canada. I'll go anywhere. I just want to go on a surf trip really bad.
Dying to get out there right now. I've got a little lot in Nico. When everything dies down a bit, you'll have to come out.
Oh yeah, I want to get there so bad right now.
You're obviously a guy who's got his hands in a bunch of different things. Was that someone you always were, or was that more an attitude that was cultivated?
I think for me, I've always just been, I've been interested in a lot of things. I would be self-described as jack of all trades, master of none. I've never, when somebody finds their passion, it's just a singular focus. That's why people become great at surfing or skating or whatever they're doing. For me, I've always loved to do everything, and I would say, pretty solid ADD. And so, surfing and skating always kind of traded off between those two. Music, and then when I started working, it was kind of like, yeah, I wanted to do the surf magazine, but I also wanted to host events, and I also wanted to write other things, so it's always kind of just been me wanting to do everything. I have FOMO for sure. And so if I'm doing one thing, I'm thinking about doing 10 other things, which has served me well, but also has definitely, held me back to a certain extent because I just want to do everything. I want to be everywhere at all times. I want to go to every show. I want to go to every event. So I like that there's always something for me to fall back on and do if I'm looking for something to do. And I just think embracing everything and trying everything at least once is going to serve you well in life. So it's always been something that I've been excited about, is just to try to do everything. Right now I'm trying to be a plant dad. I'm trying to be a plant guy. This guy, I'm more just trying to keep them alive, because that's been my struggle in the past. But now I'm dedicating myself to plant life.
That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your time today. I've got one last question for you. I've heard you mention this a couple times, so I'm just curious. Who is your favorite Wu-Tang Clan member?
Ooh, Jizza. I'm gonna go Jizza, RZA, Ghostface. Yeah. I'm gonna say Jizza.
I heard shadowboxing for the first time. It just hits differently.
From the second it starts, you're like, yep, we're on to something here. Where are you at right now?
I'm based out of St. Augustine, Florida.
Oh, America's oldest city, St. Aug. I got a bunch of homies from St. Augustine. I think I've been there way back in the day, but I'd like to get there soon and check it out. It seems like a really cool place. Everyone I know who's from there is cool, and that includes you, so it must be a pretty nice place to grow up.
It's a chill place. I love it out here.
Hell yeah.
Definitely. Well, if you ever come down here, man, hit me up. I'll show you around.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me, man.